Hi guys, it's Lara. Thanks for watching and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to introduce the next vegan place in Vienna. It's Veggiezz, which is a vegan dining room. They have 6 restaurants in Vienna, so I'm gonna tell you a little bit about what they have, about the pricing, and about my experience so far. So if that's something you're interested in, then please keep watching. So far, I have been to 2 of their places. Jack and I have discovered their diner in a street called Salzkreisgasse in the first district a few years ago. It was during a time when we had a week off, but instead of going on vacation, we decided to have a staycation, meaning we stayed at home but did all the fun things that you would do when you would be somewhere like let's say in Paris or in Venice. So basically we took a stroll through the city, went to museums and went for a lunch and for dinner every day. And one of these days we discovered the diner in Salzkreisgasse and we liked it so much that we kept going there regularly. We took our son there too, and even though he's not vegan, he loves their burgers so much, so it kind of became a thing. So we would go there at least twice a month for lunch on Saturdays or Sundays as a family. Even though their menu changed a little bit over the years, the core principle remained the same. It is a diner, but they serve the food, so it's kind of a fancier diner if you want. They have burgers. They offer 3 types of patties and 3 types of buns. So they have a regular bun, they have a whole grain bun and a gluten-free bun, and one of the patties is also gluten-free, which is amazing. They also have a few wraps, they have a club sandwich, salads, soups, some pasta, quinoto, which is basically the quinoa version of risotto, desserts, homemade lemonade, coffee, a few kinds of tea. They also have some sodas, beer, and vegan wine. So the menu is really nice. You can download it from their webpage. So I'm gonna link the webpage down below and you can have a look at it yourself. So we kept going to the place in the street Salzkreisgasse for a while. We loved the food. There was never a problem with the food. However, there were a few issues with the staff. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit later. And that was one of the reasons why I looked up their webpage and I discovered that there is another place next to the opera. So we switched to the place next to the opera, which is for us more convenient anyway. I think even if there were no issues whatsoever, we would have started going to the place next to the opera anyway, because it's just so easy for us to get there. We have a streetcar, literally, like a streetcar station literally in front of our house, and it takes us directly there to the opera. And when we go home, when we get out of the streetcar, it really stops in front of the entrance to our house. So it can't get any more convenient than that. You can also order their food. They do deliver to several districts, but it's usually just a district very close to the center. And unfortunately, we are a little bit too far from the center, so they do not deliver to our place. However, they also offer the stuff to go, so sometimes I just hop on the streetcar and get the stuff myself. When I go to Veggiezz next to the opera, I always get out at the station Karlsplatz, which is not only tram station but also subway station. Here we have it. It's a really lovely place. I love how it's decorated. It's kind of in the typical shabby chic style, and during summer they always have also quite a few places outside. The place doesn't look big, but it has 2 stories, by the way. In winter, I usually drink some of their teas, so here I had a fresh mint tea and I also had seitan steak with grilled avocados. And as a side dish, I have decided to have a quinoto with pumpkin. It was absolutely delicious. And my friend had a club sandwich with sweet potato fries. So that you can imagine how far the place is from the opera, here I'm standing literally vis-a-vis from the opera. I mean, isn't it beautiful? And when you look on the left side, I'm just gonna point with my finger where the place is. It's over there. Here we have the food that I brought home for Jack. I brought a farmer's burger for Jack. So there is a patty inside with mushrooms, tomatoes, onions, lettuce, and I don't know what else. But what I know is that these buns are from a bakery in Vienna, which is wonderful because they are buying that regionally. And I brought him regular fries. Now, we both like sweet potato fries, but I find when you bring them home, they get a little mushy and the regular fries stay crispy. And this sauce is a barbecue sauce. Now, you can see that this is a paper wrapping, like paper box. This is also a paper box. Now, Jack discovered that the little cup for the barbecue sauce is actually not plasticky because it's a brand called Greenware and all their wrappings are made of plants. So it's renewable and it's also biologically degradable. So basically, all the food that I brought home today is plastic free. And I also brought home muffins. Okay, I'm apparently incapable of opening the box. So I brought one chocolate muffin. Now it has a cherry filling in the middle, and the left one is a blueberry muffin, which is my absolutely favorite. But then again, when I think about the chocolate muffin with the cherry filling, it's really hard to choose. That's the burger when you cut it in half so that you can see how much is inside. What I also see there is red cabbage. So I know that the mushrooms I told you, I think there's also avocado and tomato and then onions and cabbage. And Jack just took a bite and his first words were, mmm. I think that their pricing is quite alright, especially considering that the place is located in the first district, which is usually more expensive anyway. And also when you consider that they serve the food, it's a regular restaurant. It's not like a diner where you have to get the food yourself. So obviously it's gonna cost a little bit more. So I have the menu open on the page where they have their burgers. A burger menu, for example, costs $10.90, and that includes home fries and a sauce. And the portions are really decent. So I usually have a hard time to finish it. So if you want some stuff extra, like let's say salad instead of the home fries or sweet potato fries, or if you want to have a different patty or a whole grain bun, you would be charged something extra. So let's look at it. So sweet potatoes are €1.90 extra. For the salad, they charge extra 90 cents if you choose salad over home fries. The whole grain bun would be 20 cents extra. The gluten-free patty would be €2 extra, and seitan patty would be 30 cents extra. But overall, it's still not bad in my opinion. I absolutely love their food. I would go even so far that I would call them my favorite restaurant. If I had to choose between burgers from, let's say, Swing Kitchen, which is a restaurant I introduced not so long ago, I will link the video down below, and between the burgers from Veggiezz, I would personally pick the burgers from Veggiezz. Partially because the portion is a little bit easier for me to finish, and partially because I like their toppings much better. But of course, both are amazing, but I still like the burgers from Veggiezz a little bit more. But now, enough praising, time for some criticism. So, why did we stop going to the place in the street Salzkreisgasse? So I told you that at the beginning we would go there pretty regularly, very often as a family. In that case, we would always make a reservation. So at some point, the people that worked there even remembered our name, and when we would come, they would greet us by our last name. So they were extremely nice and friendly, and the food was always delicious. So at the beginning, there was absolutely nothing to complain about whatsoever. At some point, there were a few changes in the personnel, and unfortunately not for the better. So the first thing that started happening quite a lot was that our orders got messed up very often, to a point where we were like, you ask us twice and why is it still wrong? But we were still very understanding because we thought, like, you know, the people are new, so maybe they're just overwhelmed. We're all human beings, and I myself used to work as a waitress when I was younger for a while, and I was a bar manager for 2.5 years, so I know this job can get tough. So we were really friendly to them and said, hey, it's not a big deal, you get it right the next time, it's fine. Especially because we basically like anything they have on the menu. But it kept happening after a certain period of time where we kind of started questioning if the person is actually able to do their job. So that got really annoying, but it was not still such a big deal. The other thing that was very annoying though was the bickering between the people who would work on the bar and the people who were waiting the tables. So we witnessed a couple of times the bartender and the waitress yelling at each other, which was super awkward, especially since there was this table where we like to sit at whenever it was available, and that was like 1.5 meters from the bar. So we were sitting there like awkward. It's just not nice, and in my opinion that's a total no-go for any restaurant or bar or coffee shop. Like, if you can't stand each other, go in the back, yell at each other for 5 minutes until you calm down, and then go out again and be normal, and don't let your guests notice anything going on. It's just not a nice thing. It kind of spoils the atmosphere, and I think people have to understand that people go there to have food and to have a nice time, not, you don't want to listen to people yelling at each other when you go to a restaurant. Another thing that happened was they suddenly started charging the tip on the bill without telling us. So we would basically tip them twice without even knowing, and I found it very dishonest. And the last thing that happened that really pissed me off so much was that at some point, whenever we would come, they would kind of not even acknowledge us, and we would sit there a long time without even getting a menu, sitting vis-a-vis from the bar, where the bartender was pretending not to see us, and the bartender wouldn't have much to do but felt like too good to come out and slap the menus on our table and at least ask us if we want something to drink, and because her colleague was busy outside. And the waitress would also go by very often without even greeting, so we would always at some point get up and get the menus ourselves so that we can at least look at the menus. And one day I even stopped the time, because it wasn't the first time, 15 minutes, and I still was not even acknowledged. I still didn't get my menu, and I was literally sitting vis-a-vis from the bar, and the bartender had to notice me, because like, come on guys, I'm not necessarily small, I'm pretty tall, so it's really hard to not notice me there. So after 15 minutes, the waitress going by a couple of times and the bartender pretending like I wasn't even there, I was like, okay, this is getting old, I'm out of here. And I went away, and I went on the internet outside on my phone, and I looked it up and on their homepage, like if they had another places somewhere else, because I really wanted to have a burger that day. And then I found out that there is the place next to the opera, and this is how I found it. And again, I think we are all humans, we all make mistakes, but when it kind of starts piling, and when you start feeling like they don't even notice you after quite a long time, and when they basically mess up pretty much everything you order. I remember one time I had some stuff to go, and they forgot part of the order, even though I was standing next to the person when they were typing it in their system. So, these things, they are a major turn off. So overall, I personally love Veggiezz. I like going there, even though I had quite a few bad experiences in one of their places. I'm pretty sure they sorted it out by now. So I still recommend them no matter where you go, because from what I've heard from other people, the quality of the food is everywhere amazing. And that is it for today. If you have any questions, you can write them down below in the comments. I will link the homepage down below if you want to look at what they have and where they are located. And another thing I should add, I have seen on their homepage also that they are going international, which is amazing. So congratulations. I think that's a great thing. So that's it for today. Thank you all so much for watching. I love you guys so much, and see you soon. Bye.